Now, food staff of some caterers under the school feeding program are rotting away as the caterers continue to stay away from cooking for school pupils. The withdrawal of services is in demand for an increase in grant for feeding from 97 pesos to 3 cedis, as well as the delay in payment of the grant. Some caterers who received supply ahead of the strike have watched on for food staff to rot away. Nana Ojima has been monitoring the situation in the Ashanti region and filed this report.
The school feeding program was initiated in 2005 by government in collaboration with Dutch government, aimed at increasing school enrollment through the provision of one hot meal for every student. It has been sustained for the positive impact on education since inception. In the compound of a home at Eija, caterers are busy cooking for 500 pupils of Eija Basic School. Today, a local delicacy, Tussle, is on the menu. The 4 caterers here are busy ensuring the food is delivered at lunchtime. They are the only caterers who have refused to withdraw their services despite the decision by the group.
Considering the food stuff I have in my storeroom, I will run at a loss if I refuse to cook. I cannot return them to the supplier too. It will be prudent for me to use them so that I add it to my claims.
Abna Jemfua, who leads these caterers, takes me to the storeroom where she has bags of rice, beans and gari stocked. Both vegetable and palm oil, as well as fish, among other perishable items, are part of the stock. She explains persistent rise in prices of foodstuff should be complemented by increase in the feeding grant.
The foodstuffs are very expensive now. Oil sold at 180 cedis is now 500 cedis. Rice is also very expensive now. If government refuses to increase the grant, it will be difficult to continue this work.
Per arrangement of the program, caterers are paid arrears of the previous term in the new one. Presently, the caterers are owed 3 terms. Abna Efriye, who described herself as a staunch member of the New Patriotic Party, says some of her produce had to rot away in the protests.
Most of the ingredients in my storeroom are not perishable. Those who had beans and others had to dispose them. I have disposed a carton of canned tomatoes because they had expired.
In the heart of Kumasi sits the state experimental basic schools. Cooking pots and utensils of the caterers are dumped in the school's kitchen empty as the caterers here remain on strike. At Nobewem Presbyterian Basic School, pupils on lunch break are relying on the food sold on the premises of the school to satisfy their hunger. Others have to share their drinks with friends. The shed under which the caterers cook, just like that of State Experimental School, is empty. Mary Boadu, who is a caterer, says students sometimes visit her home to ask why there is no lunch for them.
Some children came to my home to verify if the program has been cancelled. I told them we are negotiating for an increase because food items are expensive.
Some parents have had to make up for the feeding demands of their children by increasing their pocket money. Together with consistent rise in the cost of transportation for their wards, Priscilla Agboko says the cost of living has become unbearable.
I used to give my son 4 cedis for feeding and 6 cedis for transportation, but because he's not fed by government, I have to give him more.
abuano for first break to second breaker on me. It is school feeding now.
It is unclear when government will reach an agreement with the caterers for them to resume cooking for the children. Until then, attendance may suffer as recorded in some schools. For JoyNews, Nana Ojima, Kumasi.
So let's dwell on this story for a little longer. We are speaking to Send Ghana on the way forward on this. Good morning to you, sir, and thanks very much for your time. Now, there's been this whole battle with the school feeding secretariat and the caterers. You have been monitoring it for a while. What are your own observation of this tussle between the caterers and the school feeding secretariat? I'm trying to find out from you what your own observations are of this tussle between the school feeding caterers and the school feeding secretariat. We'll try and revert to this story later on, but the Accra-Tema Motorway is expected to be opened for traffic in the next 24 hours. For nearly 2 weeks since work began on the stretch, the construction has impeded traffic flow for the last couple of days, with commuters mounting pressure on engineers to speed up their work. The final phase, casting of concrete, had been done. With the help of a special additive, the concrete is expected to dry in a few hours. Roads Minister Kwesi Amwakwata says the road will be open to motor traffic by 6 a.m. Friday, June 17th, 2 days ahead of its initial deadline. JoyNews' Michael Papani Ashley has more in this report. Let's try and revert to our earlier story where school feeding caterers are watching their food staff rot away in protest of not cooking for the pupils because they're asking for increment in the grant from 97 pesos to 3 cedis, and also asking government to pay the arrears that they owe them. Send Ghana has been monitoring movement in this regard, and we have the director with us on the line to have a chat on this particular development. Thank you very much for agreeing to speak to us. I want to find out from you, since you've been monitoring this development, your observation of this tussle between the school feeding caterers and the school feeding secretariat and its impact on the pupils. Can you unmute your microphone so we can follow what you're telling us? And I want to find out from you what you're making is of the tussle between the caterers and the school feeding secretariat and its impact on the pupils.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning to your cherished viewers. In fact, for us, this hasn't come as a surprise to us because time and again we've called on government to pay heed to what the caterers have been saying. In my interest, you to know that we are yet to come actually with the official report, but we did some work monitoring all the 5 social protection intervention schemes, and school feeding obviously is one of them last year, and we had some validation this year. It was clear. We spoke to caterers, we spoke to teachers, we spoke to some of the pupils, and even the pupils indeed highlighted that there have been concerns raised by the caterers that government is not paying them what is due them, and for that matter, if they don't take care, they will decide then to go on strike. And so that is clearly what we are witnessing. To think of it, paying as low as 97 pesos, and this is something that from 2019 or so, we've been engaging government on. At the time, we were even calling for 2 cities. And up to now, you are still paying 97 pesos, and even that, it doesn't mean come when it needs to come. All of us know I mean, high rocketed our inflation currently is. And so if you expect them to make do with the 97 pesos and it's even not coming, this is something that for us, we do agree with the caterers that they, I think, have been quite lenient with the government for far too long. And what we are hearing is that if even with that, if they are to pay, they are going to pay them, I think they said, is it 2 weeks or 12 days? I mean, how could you do that? If you look at the budget for 2022, if you look at the proportion of how much the school feeding is actually taken care of in terms of situating that within the Ministry of Gender and Social Protection budget, that takes a chunk of it. And the fact is that you've made all these provisions for in the budget. So what is really causing the challenge of you not paying the caterers? We run the risk of losing the huge benefit that we seek to gain as a country from not paying the school feeding caterers. Let me just put this in perspective. If you allow me, I'll just quote.
All right, Doc, are you still there? Because now the caterers say they won't go back to cook, and that's affecting education. How should we address this particular development to get the caterers back to school so that we can have the kids enjoying the meals? Because we know the impact it has on school children when these caterers are not in school. Doc, I want to find out from you how best this issue must be resolved because of its impact on education. Kids need the food so they can always be in school. Without it, we've had stories where children are avoiding school. So how should we go about addressing this particular matter?
For us, we think that government needs to look at this as something that needs all that agency that is required. You've contracted these people. Some have gone to the extent of contracting loans just to prepare food for the kids. And so government...
Hello, Doc. All right. We have some challenges. We're getting Doc on the line, but we're still getting, so we can speak to him. That's Dr. Emmanuel Eifa. He is Vice President of St. Ghana. Still talking about the school feeding caterers and their tussle with the Secretariat over non-payment of arrears, and again, asking for increment in the grant. Doc, I was trying to find out from you what the way forward, how we must resolve this to ensure that we don't prolong the impact it's having on education.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry for the connection. I hope this one will work well. I'm using my phone now. So clearly we think that government should look at it with all sense of urgency that it requires. Because one, the caterers are indebted to the banks and other places that they've secured loans to prepare food for the kids. If we do not do that, if we fail, we run the risk of running the whole Ghana school feeding program down. The fact is that if you look at some impact evaluations that have been done out there, a lot of research points to very good outcomes in terms of enrollment, in terms of nutritional outcomes, and even the economy-wide effect. Because, you know, these caterers purchase goods from the local economy market. And so we run the risk of losing all these attendant benefits of the school feeding programs. The point is that government have budgeted for this. And so once you budgeted for it, we expect that, yes, insofar as you prioritize certain things, this thing also needs to be prioritized in terms of the school feeding program. If you permit me, okay, going forward, maybe before I go on to talk about what we think government should do, if you permit me, I can just quote a verbatim from some of the monitoring that we've done and what some even said in terms of the caterers, in terms of the school children, and in terms of some school authorities.
Do that in the next 1 minute for me.
Okay. They said there's a delay in payment. Mostly we go for loans, and government usually delay in payment of funds after we pre-finance. We wish the government could pay upfront before we commence work for the term. Our monies usually get locked up, and we sometimes have to go for loans to continue cooking. Meanwhile, it takes a long time for claims to be paid. Let me just wrap up quickly in terms of what we think. So, one, government should pay heed to the 3 Ghana cedis that they are calling for. I mean, we don't need a prophet to tell us that times are hard, looking at the huge inflation figures that was quoted last week or so. Aside that, we think that going forward, it's important for government to even peg the amount to inflation so that it wouldn't be that every time he has to come talking about it and all that. And then lastly, we think that government, no matter what, should find money to pay the caterers. This is something, they are fighting for something that they work for. It's not something that they've not worked for that they are demanding. And so this is due them. Government should try as much as possible to do that. The caterers resumed their decision to go on strike, I think last 3 weeks or so. They start with government to talk, but government unfortunately has failed on their part. And so we expect government to do that. Other than that, we risk the risk of not having kids attending school. And that is what we are picking up right now.
All right, Doc. So, grateful to you that you found time to join us. Dr. Emmanuel Aifa is Deputy Country Director of Send Ghana. This is still the Joy News desk. Now, the Accra-Tema Motorway is expected to be open to traffic in the next 24 hours. For nearly 2 weeks since work began on the stretch, the construction has impeded traffic for the last couple of days, with commuters mounting pressure on engineers to speed up work. The final phase, casting of concrete, has been done. With the help of a special additive, the concrete is expected to dry in a few hours' time. Roads Minister Appiatse says the road will be open to motor traffic by 6 a.m. on Friday, June 17th, 2 days ahead of its initial deadline. Joy News' Michael Papani Ashley has more in this report.
10 p.m. on the motorway, and workers are working round the clock to construct the damaged bridge. Earlier, engineers declared it not fit for purpose after it failed structural integrity test.
But it has begun to show some failure because the lifespan of the bridge, everything have a lifespan. So the lifespan of this bridge is done.
A section of the road was cordoned off to allow for repair works. Commuters had to endure longer hours of traffic.
The traffic will be about from Temaran about up to here, traffic in Kwan.
The road is very, very bad. We are suffering in this road because they are not doing the maintenance. I'm passing here every day. The potholes and the things is very bad. So we are begging the president so that they fix the road for we. We are suffering in this motorway.
But now, the casting of the concrete is being done. It was also estimated to take 14 days to complete the entire exercise. But Roads Minister Appiatse says it will be completed much earlier.
So what we are going to do tonight, within 24 hours, it will achieve the necessary strength, to allow traffic, to be reopened. So, and we will be here, and I'm prepared to stay here up to 5, 6 a.m. I'm prepared to do that. I will spend the night here with my group, and we plan to open this stretch to traffic 6 a.m. on Friday. Inshallah, we will do everything possible.
But how much will this cost the ordinary taxpayer?
Those who do not know what is happening here should keep quiet. Those who do not know what is happening here should keep quiet, okay? Because my ministry, the engineers, we are working day and night in crisis like this. Cost is immaterial. No, we have to bring comfort to our people. We are ready to provide whatever is necessary, iron rods, other materials, cement, and after that we will sit down and put together the cost. But I'm assuring you that this project will come out with value for money.
They're hoping this will cure before 6 a.m. Friday. For JoyNews, Michael Ashale.
Now, border communities in the far northeast bordering Togo and Burkina Faso want government to deal with the imminent threat of terrorists emanating from the Sahel region. The residents also want a check of possible spillover of jihadist violence and infiltration from neighboring countries. This, they believe, can be achieved by addressing their poor socio-economic conditions. Correspondent Elias Otanko has more in the following report.
On the 3rd of this month, almost 3 weeks ago, the Ministry of National Security passed on a presumed intelligence to the local security and defense services in the northeast and upper east regions, alerting them to suspicious movements of a group of persons along a mountainous area that borders the Bumpurbu, Nakpanduri, and Garu districts. The intelligence indicated that these suspicious men were seen transiting the area on motorbikes, wearing turbans to hide their faces. The two districts are separated by the Gambagas camp, which runs northeast from Nakpanduri and extends eastwards to the border with Togo. The N2 road, locally known as the Nakpanduri-Garu-Boku road, is the major route that links the two districts. The regional authorities, in response to the security alert, quickly deployed armed personnel to the area in an operation to search and intercept the suspicious men. However, 3 weeks after the incident, the identity and whereabouts of the men are yet to be established by the security services. Although nothing dramatic, or so it will seem, has since occurred in the area, the incident, coupled with a recent jihadist attack on neighboring Togo, has left the local population in the border towns and villages in an increasing state of fear and uneasiness. For residents of Nakpanduri and its environs, they appeal to the government to establish a mobile security patrol outpost in the Gambagas camp and fix the Nakpanduri-Garu-Boku road. Over the years, criminal gangs have already taken advantage of the weak presence of the state security forces and the poor condition of this road to increase the number of robberies, smuggling, and other illegal activities favored by poorest borders.
We are afraid because the road is not good, so if I have to pass it will be difficult. You saw me, I've seen the Sova Dam suffering, so it's difficult. So we are just praying, so this will make the road nice for us.
I go to farm with my father. Without not my father, I will not go. And I always fear. Do you have the control of it?
Because the road is just this way, Like when you come, you slow down and they say, park one side. The time you park one side, the policeman will come and stand on the way. They will refuse to come there. The time they send the money, they will come, ask, what about them, what about them?
We are now very much afraid traveling on this road. That's why for me, I use this road only in the daytime. After 5 p.m., the road becomes very scary. These days, we do not want to be taken by chances. So I have limited my working hours, and this has affected my work. In the far northeast and west community directly bordering Togo and Burkina, residents expressed less support for a total military approach in dealing with the threat of terrorism and extremism. Instead, they are calling on the government to use the opportunity to reinforce the social contract with border residents by speeding up social projects and providing jobs and livelihood opportunities.
As I speak, I'm a university graduate, and as you can see, we are hanging around. There's no job. If government can help to make sure that it provide jobs for the Ghanaian youth, I think all these also contribute to some social problems. But if the youth are engaged into jobs, there will be peace, there will be a lot of development.
Yeah, we don't have anything to do. And if they also bring their big money, that we should help them, what can we do? we don't have anything to do than to go and join them. Did you see? Yeah, everything is hot. Hey, even though if you are to move here to here, now the fuel is just like there is some spirit who's removing the fuel inside the machine. We need plenty jobs. We need the government to come and open some companies in our town here, so that we can also get something there, so that something who can prevent us not to join those bad people like the Boko Haram.
The fear of the terrorists is heavy here in Ghana. We are equally worried about the joblessness of our youth, because if the youth are unemployed, they are vulnerable to jihadist recruitment. So the government must provide enough social and economic support to the border communities. Ilyas Sutanko reporting for JoyNews.
JoyNews is speaking intel that there's been a terrorist attack in Togo. We are trying our best to get to our correspondent to verify the accuracy of the information. Then we can update you in our subsequent bulletins. Stay with us for all the latest information in and around Ghana. Now moving on to other stories. General Secretary of the Christian Council of Ghana, Dr. Cyril Fayosi, says the National Cathedral project is not at the top of his priority list right now. If he were in charge of the government, he believes there would be no National Cathedral project at this time. However, he stated despite his opinion on the entire project, it's not his place to say that government is wrong for prioritizing such a project amidst the many challenges facing the country. He was speaking on the PM Express on JoyNews.
If you ask me, in the order of things, what will be my priorities at this material moment, the cathedral may not be at the top of the list. That if you ask me a personal question, or if I were to be the person in government or the person managing this economy, maybe the cathedral will not be priority number one right now. But I'm not the one in government. I'm not the one managing the economy. And they may have their priorities. And it will be difficult from where I sit to say, well, they shouldn't have those priorities. Their priorities are wrong. The church, if you like, has been dragged into it, to use your words. But the fact still remains that the Christian Council and the persons who are managing the building of the cathedral, the trustees, are not different. I don't know if you are getting my point.
Sorry, use the word again. They are not?
They are not different.
Okay.
There's a very thin line between them.
Yes.
Because most of our heads of churches are the trustees of the cathedral. So in effect, it is the Christian Council of Ghana, member churches and other churches that are sort of constructing this cathedral on behalf of the government.
Now, let me take you to an earlier story of some people living in the Northeast region fearing of a terrorist attack there. Now, I told you earlier that we are picking info that there's been an alleged terrorist attack in neighboring Togo. Ilyas Sutanko, our correspondent there, joins us live with some update on that particular report. Ilyasu, what do we know now about this alleged attack in Togo?
Well, what we are learning is that this attack occurred this morning around 3 a.m. and the shooting continued. In fact, we understand these are terrorist elements who engage the forces in Togo, the security forces in Togo around 3 a.m. and the fighting continued up to 6 a.m. We are learning that this particular incident actually happened on the border with Burkina Faso, Ghana as well, just very closer to our territory in Ghana here. what we are learning is that there have not been any casualties. The authorities have started, they have been able to assess the area as I speak to you now, and they are now conducting the assessment of this attack. But our sources in Togo, which is closer to the border with Ghana, says that this particular attack didn't cost the life of anybody. That particular, we are yet to confirm that from authorities. And so, yes, this is what happened this morning in Togo. But you remember, this is the third terrorist attack in Togo. Just last month, on the 11th, there was a terrorist attack at a community called Kanja, which is also closer to the border with Burkina Faso. This particular attack led to the killing of 8 Togolese soldiers and the wounding of several others. We understand 15 of the attackers were killed. And in November last year, there was also an attack. That particular attack was non-fatal. Nobody died in that particular attack. And this morning, we are learning of another attack, which we are yet to get the full details for now.
All right. Thank you very much, Elias Otanko. Keep monitoring the situation so that we can update our listeners and viewers with the latest. Now, 2 other stories. Deputy Minister of Lands and Natural Resources in charge of forestry, Benito Osubio, has disclosed that should all go as planned, the reconstruction of the old Appiatse community will commence on July 15, 2022. Already, residents of Appiatse are being housed in temporary structures which were originally planned for the relocation of the Dumase community in the Prisiahoni Valley Municipal Assembly by then mining company Golden Star Resources. There's more in this report.
The Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources in charge of forestry, who doubles as the chairman of the Appiatse Rehabilitation Committee, Benito Osubio, announced the date for the reconstruction of Appiatse during a tour on the old and destroyed community. Benito Osubio, together with a team of architects, on Wednesday visited Appiatse to assess the progress of work relative to the surveying of the old site to inform government on when reconstruction works will commence. A surveyor with the Ghana Institute of Surveyors, Engineer Franklin Ligi Kudonu, who is leading a team of surveyors to work on the old community, revealed that so far 95% of the demarcation and surveying works have been done.
For the demarcation and survey, we've done almost about 90 to 95%, almost completed. And we started with the pillaring, because it's the pillaring that will have the numbers on it to indicate the plots that we are interested in, because when you look on the scheme, each plot is identified by a plot number. So that is what we are doing now, and for that one I will say that we are about roughly 30% through. From the look of things, actually we are running short of logistics and also men to help us do the work, because you could see only few people that you met at the site. Getting the men to help us is a challenge.
Architects working on model houses for the community gave an overview of the project.
The land use plan has been translated onto the ground. So now we are able to pick up the whole extent of the village that we're doing. There's a core area which has about 120 plots. These have been set out on the site. We've defined the road network too, so we are ready to go. We are hoping that very shortly urban roads will come in to come and do the road network. Concurrently, we are almost completed with the pre-contract drawings from AESL. Based on that, we'll quickly go out and choose probably about 3 contractors to complete with the core area. At the same time, too, we've brought the electricity company in to come and also define their lines. We've got Community Water and Sanitation Agency in to also come and define the water network. So we are very, very much on course. In fact, I think what we've seen this morning, we are very happy. The surveyors have done a brilliant job. We've walked around, we've seen where the road networks are, we've seen where we are going to be putting up all the houses. So we are very much on track. And we hope to be able to deliver the community of Appiatse in a very short time, hoping that we'll start construction almost immediately, at least by the middle of July. Concurrently, we are doing the pre-contract documents. AESL won the bid to do the consulting works and the supervision. They've also done a brilliant job. The design of the houses are ready.
Benito Owusubio and the team later visited the affected residents at their temporal place, where he assured them that government is working assiduously to get them back to Appiatse as soon as possible.
This is the team, that is the Appiatse construction team. We are here to also verify the surveyors who have been sent to the field to do some interpretation of the layout onto the ground. So at least we can have the setting out, and then when the contractors come to start the construction, they can go ahead and then do it. We have been working in the office. Those sort of work and processes need to be done before we come to the field and then start the actual construction.
For Joy News, in Athalia Kwanza, Appiatse.
Now, you must be wondering why you are spending so much on Waakye and Hausa cocoa these days. Vendors say they can no longer cushion customers following the skyrocketing prices of food product on the market. But the question is, will customers stop eating? There's more in the latest Living Standard series.
The top bread in the cocoa. As I said, can see 3 city. Be enjoy it.
Cocoa sono first in a cup no 1 cedi any sugar. Sisi ade no 1 cup no 2 cedi.
5 cedis, you get waakye and gari, and we'll manage to give you macaroni small.
Where's William, you know, and now don't go see him. First one, I don't go see him. Franco see him, and me
but my leaves no I once the penny was running the teacher mammy. But
hungry mouths queuing to buy their favorite waakye for breakfast. As early as 7 a.m., Auntie Bebe has already started serving. Her food is popular among residents of Accra New Town, and many other residents of Accra also visit here. They include formal and informal workers and even children.
More than 6 years. So I 6.6 to say 8 years.
Waakye there, maybe I'm a pepper.
Me, mostly when I come here because of my wife, she really prefers eating this waakye every morning.
However, Auntie Bebe, like many other food businesses, is experiencing difficulties as the cost of ingredients has risen dramatically. She has been compelled to increase her prices. She now sells a ladle of waakye for 2 cedis. Be mindful, you have to pay separately for the gari or spaghetti. You will need at least 10 cedis for a fairly decent plate of waakye. Her assistant, Benedicta, explains.
So if you are with 20 cedis, you can get waakye 5 cedi, macaroni 1 cedi, gari 1 cedi. Then we'll give you a small salad. Then we'll add you the fish. 5 cedis, you get waakye and gari. And we'll manage to give you macaroni small.
Customers are now altering their breakfast budgets. Baba has been a regular here for about 8 years. The price of waakye has been increased, but he loves the meal too much to stay away from it.
Is that now, due to the economic situation, things have gone up. So first I was spending like 5 cedi. Now I have to spend 10 cedi to buy the on the breakfast alone. So supposing I'm spending like I get it to 25th or 24th, you see that I'm short of money. So I have to go back to cocoa and start to take cocoa for the meantime, so that if I get my salary, I can come back and take the waakye.
Patrick Okra buys about twice a week. He spends at least 15 cedis for a meal.
Something you enjoy every morning?
So serious. I bought my waakye 5 cedis, leaves, how do you call it? Macaroni, gari, and then fish. And then they put it in the pack. So the whole thing budget to 15 Ghana in the morning.
Hausa Cocoa is a cheaper breakfast option. Praise visits Aishetu Cocoa joint almost every day.
It depends what I feel to eat in the morning. Sometimes I go in for porridge. Sometimes I go in for plain rice and other stuff. So it depends. For porridge instance, I can spend less than 6-7 cedis. Yeah, on porridge I can spend less because if I buy the porridge 2 cedis with milk, and granules like 4 cedis, I can buy bread 2 cedis. I'm good with that. Yeah.
Elvis Kofi says he has to spend more on millet porridge. He shares his frustration with me.
Look at
Kose. I got the leftovers because I couldn't afford 2 cedis. The economic conditions are very harsh for some of us. We need the government to do something.
Aishetu and her family have been operating this business for over 20 years. Prices have reached an all-time high, and they can no longer cushion customers. A cup of cocoa now sells from 2 cedis.
Cocoa no first cup no 1 cedi any sugar. Sisi ade no 1 cup no 2 cedi. Sugar so no enye ti say dos onipa no abre. Kose so no first no 50%. Sisi ade no kitiwa we de no.
Cocoa is now 2 cedis. Kose now costs 1 cedi. Bread is from 2 cedis upwards. If someone cannot afford, sometimes we dash them the cocoa and they buy bread or kose.
Because Ghana okita de no, enye sika bebere. Obetumi akita 2 cedi, ana 3 cedi ope cocoa, ope bread ene kose. Si say mu say waye no say, mu betumi ache no cocoa, onfa ni rest no ato bread ene kose.
Although it costs more to get these favorite foods, it doesn't stop many from enjoying their breakfast. However, some people have been forced to reduce their portions and skip either lunch or dinner. All they require are higher standards of living.
So that's our living standards there. I don't know how much Daryl buys his cocoa, but Daryl, how much do you buy your cocoa now?
How much did I buy it? I don't know, but the struggle is real. Interesting report from Mamiesu Thompson on the Living Standard series. And so that takes us to business, right, Brace? So imagine, Brace, your mobile account linked with all forms of banking services. I'm going to be telling you guys about Ghana Pay after this break.
All right, we'll take a quick break. When we return, details of the business with Daryl Call.
Hello, welcome to Business. My name is Daryl Kwao. The Bank of Ghana and the Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement System GIPS have introduced another innovation to complement the mobile money and banking services. The product known as Ghana Pay has a feature that combines all forms of banking services, including rural banking and mobile wallets for customers. There's more in this report.
Ghana Pay will allow consumers to have both mobile money and bank services on their mobile phone at no extra charge except the payment of e-levy whenever a transaction is done. According to the Chief Executive of GIPS, Achi Hersi, the initiative gives the banks an opportunity of a platform to issue mobile money wallet accounts to customers and individuals that can't secure a bank account for one reason or the other.
The entities currently offering mobile money wallet accounts are the fintechs and the telcos and one fintech. The banks are not participating at all in that space. So this initiative gives the banks the opportunity to have a platform that they can also start issuing mobile money wallet accounts to their customers and also individuals who would otherwise not be able to secure a bank account. So we are not totally relying on the fintechs and the telcos, but now the banks do currently, by virtue of Ghana Pay, will now have a platform to address the onboarding in the country.
In a speech to launch the system, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia announced that the new digital age requires collaboration from all stakeholders, including the financial services providers, in ensuring a secured payment ecosystem.
We have significantly reduced the unbanked population, but I know we can bring it down further, and one of the channels to achieve this is through digital financial services. That is leveraging the increase in adoption and usage of the mobile wallet because of the ease of use. So I'm particularly excited that the banks have closed their ranks and come together to introduce a shared electronic wallet, which has been christened Ghana Pay. I see this as a huge avenue for the banks to rapidly bring more people into the banking space.
Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, describes the entry of Ghana Pay as a helpful tool to support the financial payment ecosystem.
Now, Junior Achievement Africa, a non-government organization, has partnered with Boeing, a multinational aviation corporation, to launch the Our Future Tomorrow Innovators program. According to Chief Executive of JA Africa, Simi Nwogugu, the partnership will deepen commitment between both partners to create more opportunities in STEM-focused programs that respond to current market needs. Here's more. Every year, approximately 7 to 10 million youths in Africa enter into a weak labor market where high unemployment, low productivity, and low income are common. It is for this reason Junior Achievement Africa, in collaboration with Boeing, have launched Our Future Tomorrow Innovators, a transformational program to equip Africa's youth with skills and knowledge to become leaders in their fields. Simi Nwogugu is Chief Executive of JA Africa.
We're graduating over 11 million young people in Africa, but we are only creating about 3 million jobs. So really, there are not enough jobs for the young people we have in Africa. So that's why we're turning these young people into job creators, that they will start businesses and hire their fellow young people. And this program is to teach them how to become young entrepreneurs, how to develop the skills. You know, the few jobs that there are, those 3 million jobs, they're looking for very advanced digital skills that our young people don't have. And so we're teaching them also those skills that are in demand, the digital skills that are in demand. So those who are not willing to become entrepreneurs have the skills that employers are looking for.
President of Boeing, Middle East, Turkey and Africa, Kujit Gata-Ura, says his outfit partnered JA Africa to take advantage of opportunities in Africa's growing aviation sector.
We think that it's very, very important to get our young people across this region really interested in STEM, in the sorts of skills and qualifications they're going to really need to be able to compete in the job market in the 21st century. In Africa, we're expecting a growth in aviation. We're expecting aviation over the next 20 years to really grow in terms of the numbers of planes that are in the air, the number of passengers that are taken. And of course, this means that you're going to need people to support that growth in every part of the aerospace infrastructure. And a lot of that's going to involve engineering jobs, jobs in software development that really support that entire industry.
One of the beneficiaries, Keisha Louisa Ejeteria, a student of a Brig Girls Senior High School, expressed their contentment with the program.
It has really helped me. It gave me a feel of the business world, and it just helped me bring out this confidence, this part of me that I never knew existed. And I'm really loving the experience. I'm learning a lot. Megatron is a company that is aiming at helping farmers. And we're also thinking about waste management, because we know that it's a problem the world is facing now, how to manage the plastics and the metal. Like countries produce a lot of plastics, and like those waste stuff, how to manage them, and And for agriculture, we are planning to help farmers. You know, agriculture is actually like a very important part of like a country. It helps with like revenue and everything. So if we could come up with some innovative ideas to help them produce more, like it's going to help with the development of most countries in the world.
All right, that's business for now.